Hey YouTube, how is it going? This is me, Irina, and today I want to talk about relationships. I am wondering at what point is a person allowed to start sharing their relationship advice? Is it when they reach a certain age or they have certain kind of experience, they have been in a relationship status for a while? Like, when is it that people are become experts? When are they considered experts and their advice is considered legitimate to follow? I think every person has a very unique experience, and listening to a relationship advice on social media is not a good idea. And I would actually advise not to listen to any advice, and from early age to learn to listen only to yourself and to trust only yourself, even if your experience seems to be very different from what other people are going through. Don't let anyone fool you that there is something is wrong with your relationship or with the way you feel, whatever you feel. But I decided to share my relationship advice. I don't think anyone is interested in this, but since it's a hot topic, I found out that relationships is a hot topic on YouTube. My video on INFP and INFJ relationships has the most views, so I decided to make a video on relationships. I'm not gonna share anything personal about my relationships, but I will say I chose number 7 pieces of advice about relationships. Maybe other INFPs will relate, maybe not. Honestly, I'm not even sure that these pieces of advice will work for me in a couple of years. Things change. But as today, I find these 7 rules to be working. So I made some notes. First one is very short, it's a start. Cooking is secondary. For example, if you live with someone and, like in Russia, women are supposed to cook, it's not a 100% rule, but it's still in the air that there is this assumption that women cook for men. But I believe that cooking is secondary. Second piece of advice: paying attention to the real needs of another person is primary. So second rule works in connection with the first rule. Cooking is secondary was the first rule, and paying attention to the real needs of another person is primary. It's the first thing you should be paying attention to, you should be spending your time on. Third rule: remember that many things that you seemingly perform in your relationship for another person, seemingly, it looks like you're doing them for another person, probably you're doing them for yourself because you enjoy the role of caretaker. Like, you probably enjoy the cooking process, you probably enjoy the cleaning process, I don't know, you enjoy the process of being, if you're a woman, like a feminine, you enjoy your feminine power that you get to employ while you're doing all those things. You enjoy those things, and there is nothing wrong with enjoying those things, but don't make it seem like you're doing it for another person and they should pay you back in some way. So always keep in mind that you doing it for yourself, unless another person asks you about it, but that's not the point. My point is to realize that some things you actually enjoy doing them, even though it may seem like you're doing them really for another person, like, but you're not. Fourth rule, observe yourself. This kind of connects with the second rule about the primary needs of another person. You also should know your own needs, like your primary needs. What is it? What is the most important need in life or in a relationship? And if another person fulfills that need, maybe not on purpose, but there is just such a good personality match, for example, that this need of yours is fulfilled. So appreciate that. And this may not be a very obvious need of yours. Like, it's not like the need to be loved or the need to be, I don't know, fed food, or the need to be touched, I don't know, hugged. I'm talking about like very important needs in a way that they're important for your functioning. Like, for example, for me, it's important that another person has the ability to leave me alone when I need it, and don't make me feel guilty for it. So I want another person to give me space, and I want to be sure in those moments that another person is also enjoying their time. And then when we're both ready, we can get back to spending time together. So for me, it's a need. And it's maybe much more important than the ability of another person to make money. I'm not sure, but something like that, you know? We don't really think about relationship needs in this way, but I encourage you to start thinking about it in this way. So, the fifth rule, I think that we should not be afraid of heartbreaks, although it's a very hard one. Like, we are all afraid of heartbreaks, I think. But don't be afraid of heartbreaks. And what I recently found out is that it's very nice to get a professional help. Like, start working with a therapist while you are in that first phase after the breakup, when you're feeling everything very intensely. Don't go through it alone. Get a professional help, really. And then this phase will be much shorter because of it, if you get a professional help. And also your conclusions, the conclusions that you will make about why your relationship didn't work, for example, will differ drastically if you work through the problems of the relationship with a professional, really. And then your next relationship might be a very different relationship, much more enjoyable. But if you don't get a professional help, there is still chance that you will become a better person, but there is still a huge chance that you will repeat the pattern. We tend to really get into the same relationships over and over, just with different people. So my experience tells me that it's really good to work with a professional when you are going through hard times. Advice number 6. This one is kind of a cheesy one, but I will try to turn it in a way that feels like it comes from me. Well, you must build a relationship with yourself first. You've heard it 1,000 times. But it's a very abstract idea. Loving yourself, building a relationship with yourself, trusting yourself. I would say, yeah, it's a very subjective experience. It's only something that you can learn on your own through experience, through trusting yourself, allowing yourself to trust life, trust yourself, and yeah, here, yeah, I'm not, I can't say much really. But don't rely on social media on learning how to love yourself. Rely on, I would say, yourself. This one is a tough one. Oh, and seventh, the last piece of advice is that there is a lot of information out there on how relationships work, how short-term relationships work, how long-term relationships work, how feminine and masculine energies work together, why one attracts another, how we are always looking for a balance and stuff like that. There's a lot of information that you can educate yourself, and this will make your relationships, your life a lot easier. So I would say, but educate yourself as much as you can, because there will still be a lot of information that you will have to learn on your own, because you will have to learn what information from what you learned applies to yourself and what doesn't apply to yourself. But still, you will help yourself a lot if you learn the general things, because there is a lot of psychology in the way sexes or people in romantic relationships communicate with each other. There's lots of psychology, communications rules. There's a lot of psychology in learning about yourself, what you like, what you don't like, how you like to be liked, and stuff like that. So educate yourself. Yes. So those are my 7 pieces of advice. What do you think? Was it worth sharing them? I wrote them in 5 minutes. Maybe those are not the main conclusions, but I feel like they're pretty good. They're not too tacky, and they're mine, really. That's what I feel at the moment. Those are the things. Oh, this is an embarrassing video. I'll delete it if you don't like it. Okay, talk to you later.